So what did we do as a fund? Because in our policy, you never find that. Even my officers ask me, in the event a lady is not able to pay, and we have a policy, what do we do? Then I tell them, go back to page 1. We go around, you never find in our policy the entire credit cycle where we are saying somebody is unable to pay, then repossess what? Because after all, we don't even take securities. So what did we do for that case of Turkana? We had to refinance because the customer came knocking and said, I'm not able to pay. Actually, it was a group. We are not able to pay you alone because of this. And we have officers on the ground who come from Turkana. So it's a reality. So we address those challenges.
Thank you. Yes.
I think the other one I may need to mention is, information gap. And these are, again, courtesy of, fintech, the technology, something seems to be working out. Then impact, which is the last question. Impact, yes, we have been able to erode or even get barriers off the path for women to access funding. Consequently, many have created jobs. Women are able to take their children to school. Women are able to afford, good nutrition, good, living well, in essence. And finally, I think basically the living standards have improved.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that contribution. And I think those statistics were, very interesting to hear. And more particularly, the idea that you are really looking to support at the time when the woman is at her lowest or that group is at their lowest, you're looking to support and ensure that they are actually equipped to be able to pay back that loan at a future stage. Ms. Violet Gatwiri, I'm really excited to have you here. I'd like you to just share with us some of the challenges you faced as a young woman in entrepreneurship in Kenya. How have you been able to overcome these? And what advice can you give to other young people who are venturing in entrepreneurship or who are currently entrepreneurs?
Thank you. And congratulations, Kepsa. This is a very big step. We don't take you for granted. And thank you for also having us. Okay, good. So as an entrepreneur in this country and as a woman, it was a bit hard for me to start because personally, I learned my art through YouTube, and so it wasn't really certified. So I couldn't go to someone and tell them that, well, I'm an interior designer or I'm a fashion designer. I needed like a sort of certificate to kind of prove myself. So how I was able to maneuver is when I joined the Kenya National Federation of Jua Kali Association, which I am representing today, and they were able to put me in spaces like this where I'm able to meet different people and I'm able to sell my craft and I'm able to be confident and talk about what it is that I do. For advice on younger people, I would tell them, don't just sit at home, step out, meet people, get to know what is happening around, and then that is how you'll be able to be confident and even sell more and get to build your network and your net worth. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. James, let me come to you finally. As a he-for-she champion, especially in the energy sector, a sector that is mainly dominated by men, kindly share some of the key lessons learned from your programs for women in energy.
Thank you very much. We have a program called the Africa Queen of Energy Awards and Conference. This program started 7 years ago now. As I left Kenya Power, I worked there for quite some time, and when I was leaving as a head of restructuring and change, the biggest challenge is that women were not showing up for the big positions. And when I came out in the market, I think my first consultancy job was with a big project, and that big project, one of the key areas why it collapsed is because there are no women in that whole community group. So when the men went and discussed about it, the time of moving away from the land, I think this Kinango project, one of the biggest challenges was that. So we started a program that I realized the best thing is that how do you let women tell their story in the energy space? And we started a program to recognize, to reward women in the energy sector. The journey has been very interesting, and it has opened up the whole sector. When we started, it was an issue of CEOs were asking Ngomeli, tutaambia nini wanawake sasa? Yeah? So it was a very big fight. It was treated like a CSR. It's CSR, enda uongee na ule mtu wa CSR muone vile mtafanya. But slowly it picked up. Slowly now it's opened up the space in the energy sector. We started seeing CEOs coming in. It started becoming a story. And I think the most important aspect that women were able to come up and show what they are doing in the sector. And you realize they are doing so much in the sector. For example, even just we had an award program last December. And I think one of the girls who won the Innovation Award, she's a very young girl called Nora Magero. I met her 3 months ago when she was trying to do another award. She did not win. And during the Innovation Award, she came and won the award. And within that forum, we had the UNFPA director who said he'll pick up that program as his and move on with it. The other day during the women conference, the president mentioned the girl. So we have seen her over years trying to come in and win. And 5 years ago, she won a philanthropy award because she helped electrify Starehe girls. So there's a story. There's a story, and they are very beautiful stories. But the problem is that the women are not coming out to tell their story. So this program has grown. Now it's an Africa program. We have it next month. We are in Ghana. It's there, the whole of ECOWAS region. In December, we had a lady from South Sudan winning the technical award. She went and she was received by the president of South Sudan. And now it's a very big program across the region. Same to Cameroon. Cameroon, she was here as a consultant. Then she attended my program for 3 years. Now she started in Cameroon, and Cameroon ECOWAS, now they do it in French. Yeah, and Rwanda, the same thing. I think I'll be going to Rwanda next month also. They have been inviting me for 2 years. So I think there are very good stories out there, but they need to be told. And so I think this program, and I would really like to thank the ministry. Madame Elachi was there in December for the program, and we have a winner. One of the winners there. Put up your hand there. Come on. She won in 2018 or 2019. I can't really remember, 2018, 2019. And also we have speakers here who have been the speakers of that conference. So I think the most important aspect is how do you package your story? You must have a story.
Yeah.
And what extra do you do?
Thank you.
Than the normal 8 to 5 work? How do you influence the communities around? Your work is important. You'll be sacked if you don't do that work. But what else do you do to influence the community around you? Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, James. For as long as I've known James, he's always championed the idea of telling those stories. He's a big champion of telling the stories and amplifying the amazing things that women are doing. I am sure I will be thrown off stage at some point. So what I want to do, because I had a second question for each of you, is I'm going to make it your parting shot, and you're going to answer it in 30 seconds. All right? So be thinking. The final question is going to be a 30-second parting shot, and I will tweak the question a little so it allows us to end on your second question. So Makabelo, coming to you first. What can organizations do to overcome some of the challenges that exist that impede gender equality? And I know I've said 30 seconds, and there's so much you could say. But maybe just some quick insights, especially for the benefit of organizations that are here and are interested in starting on this journey and achieving some of the milestones you have. What are those quick wins that they could utilize?
30 seconds is very short. So we talk about women empowerment a lot, right? It's all about business. It makes business sense. It's not just about women. It's something that makes sense for businesses and for the communities that we serve, right? So we all have to play a role. One of the things that work really well for us at Standard Chartered is our men are allies, right, for women. We always say women are over-mentored within our organizations, but they don't have enough sponsors to help them move into the next role, to take a risk on them and say, this person can do it. They might not meet 100% of the requirements that you have on your JD, but they can actually get the job done. So some of the simple things that we're doing as well is our JDs are not gender specific. You know, there's language that you have in JDs that says this is a men's role, right? We're removing those. They have to be gender neutral. If you're sitting in an interview panel, you will find that it's diverse. We insist that it has diverse representation, and it's not just one-sided. Because if it was one-sided, all the men would get all the jobs all the time. But if for us, we're aiming for that 50% representation at all levels within the organization, we have to have allies, and it makes business sense. The results speak for themselves, and that's why we really value this.
I love that. Men are allies, he for she. And I think that's really important, which is why the policy says it must start from the top with the leadership and really get involved. Ms. Wangeshi, let me come to you. What opportunities are available for civil society to partner with the private sector to enhance the empowerment of women? And I know my 30-second rule still applies, so try as much as possible. I know you had a whole lot of stuff to say. What are the key ways that you can see us working together so that we can actually move forward and implement this policy so it's not just a launch that ends with a launch?
Yeah. I think before I go to the companies, I think we have a very big opportunity, and I'm looking at both CAS, Honorable Jelimo and Honorable Shebesh, that Kenya has committed under Generation Equality to pass C-190, which is dealing with issues of sexual harassment in the workplace. So our appeal to you, let it be ratified. And after ratification, I think the opportunity we have is to partner as civil society with private sector to ensure that women are safe in the world of work, that they can be able to be confident to work, they can be able to rise within those companies without being sexually harassed, that we'll have safe spaces for women to be able to report and be heard and be listened and to be believed that they were violated. Yeah. And of course, whoever did it must be able to get the consequences. So we have an opportunity to train. We have an opportunity to be able to look at what are the risks within companies that are putting women in places that are being violated. But more so important, how does it become the DNA of the organization? That the women are going to compete in the same place and feel that they were heard, they were listened, and somebody believed when they were sexually violated that something was done. I think for me this is very practical.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love the way my panel are really working hard to keep it to the 30 seconds. Brief, but they are really packing those 30 seconds with so much insight. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I really look forward on behalf of the Gender Sector Board to our collaboration as we see how we can move the needle forward. Dr. Charles, again with your 30 seconds, what opportunities are available for partnership with the private sector to enhance the empowerment of women?
Okay, thank you. From the information I give specifically about the mandates of Women Enterprise Fund, definitely with the resources we have, we are not able to articulate all of them, the way we are required to do. Consequently, this policy of KEPSA gives me an opportunity. Actually, it's a good framework for me to be able to seek out strategic partnerships. I would want the women we serve, the women we target, to be networked. I mean, to be supported to enhance their networking skills. The women we target, the women we support, to be given opportunities or to enhance their capacities to market their goods, especially internationally. And also, they need to be coached and mentored. And now I'll be seeking out, institutions through this policy who are like-minded like ourselves or whose interests converge with the wealth interest then we will be coming to a middle ground, then we are able to partner for the better good of the woman. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for that response. I was writing furiously and making a note of the things I shall follow up and part of your response. Violet, what can institutions, both private and public, do differently to accommodate young entrepreneurs and boost their capacity? Because you spoke so briefly last time, Violet, I'll even give you 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So far, the Association of Jokali has been working closely with KEPSA and the Chamber of Commerce, and they've been able to access us to loans, and also to, they've given us job opportunities. Like the last time, we had our women making the masks and also the sanitizers. So I want to thank KEPSA and the Chamber of Commerce for that. Also, the government, through the Ministry of Industrialization, they gave us opportunities to go and showcase and sell our stuff in both locally and internationally. I was also a big beneficiary of the same. So I also want to call out on the government to keep working with the Jokali Association. We are 14 million of us, so, and we create so much revenue. So if you keep working with us, that will be good. And I also want to challenge the government to come up with a Ministry of Arts. They have conjoined arts and culture. And I feel like for the artists, we have so much to offer, and we create so much revenue for this country. So I want to challenge the government to come up with a sector for us, and also to fund us the same way they fund the sports, the same way they fund the culture. They should also remember that we're artists, and we have so many women in our spaces that could benefit from the same. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. James, as I come to you, your final parting shot as the lead of the Board Diversity Subcommittee in the Gender Sector Board, what do you feel the private sector can do more to ensure gender mainstreaming at board levels?
I think one area after we have formed this is where do you go when you have a challenge? That's one of the big challenges we are finding in the market. And I think KEPSA, we have a role. Can you have a Obudusman for this kind of scenarios? And especially the people who suffer maybe a lot I see, might not be violence, but the mental violence from the workplace. People who are trying to raise, as you continue, you are maybe N1, N-1, N-2. They have a very big problem. But how do you address it? Where can they go? Most of them, they'll go to church, but the church will not sort out that issue. So there is need for professional care, and I think KEPSA, even government, when it enacts a law, there is an appeals body. In case that law is, you don't like what has been passed, there is a place you can go. And that's where there are Obudusman and the tribunals to hear. So I think KEPSA, we need to, how can you form an area that they can be able to seek guidance in their careers when they are facing such challenges. And lastly, maybe sometimes the word gender is a very tough word to get budgets. You can change it to economic stimulus. You need to, the biggest challenge with men, let me tell you, when we are employing the women, is that we fear losing control of them. That's a big challenge. And you'll find if you push us to employ, then we'll employ what you can manage. So sometimes it's easier even to call it an economic stimulus program or something different. But gender, sometimes it will not fly in your organization, and you will not get that budget, I can assure you. So you need to be, and also having experts like Lucy, they are very few. Right now, if you tell a CEO to implement, he'll go and employ 2 women and say, si nimemaliza kazi. CEO ndio mko mnataka Ngomeli. In fact, there was a time they were being called wanawake wa Ngomeli. Yeah? When we employed some in an organization. Yeah? So I think that's my parting shot. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much to my panel. Thank you, Ms. Makabelo Mulamane from Standard Chartered. Thank you, Ms. Wangeshi Washira from Crew. Thank you, Dr. Charles Mwirigi from Women Enterprise Fund. Thank you, Ms. Violet Gatwiri from the Kenya National Federation of Juakali Association. And thank you, Mr. James Ngomeli, a member of the Gender Sector Board. Were they not amazing? Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you so much to each of you for this conversation. And I can assure you, on behalf of the Gender Sector Board, that this is the beginning of the conversations we shall have on the journey to implementation of this policy that we have launched. Mother, I am handing the mic back to you as we all exit the stage. Thank you very much. Yes, you can clap for them.
Thank you very much. Let us continue giving them a round of applause as they go to sit. Wow. I believe we've gotten the words of wisdom from the experts that were in front of us. Na katika Kiswahili tulifundishwa kuwa umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Wametueleza ya kwamba tukiungana sote tutaweza kuikuza uchumi wetu na kuelekeza mawazo yetu yote, kisha Kenya yetu itaenda mbele. Si ndio? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, remember the celebration that we were doing, and we will do it mara tatu. Ama kwa vile wengine wetu tunakumbuka wakati wa Nyayo. Mnakumbuka, si ndio? Haya, kwa vile sote tunakumbuka tutafanya moja, mnakumbuka? Haya, twende moja. Mbili, tatu. Fungua bado. Haya, fungua. Sasa kwa vile tunataka kufungua, wakati huu ningependa kumwita Mheshimiwa Rachel Shebesh aje anene nasi akifunga muda kutoka watu wa okay. Yes, as she comes on stage tufanye fungua. Shebesh, karibu sana.
Thank you very much. I was asking whether you're in PR, and I'm told you're an engineer. I think you can have another job, because you are really good at this. She's been very good on the stage. Very good. So I'm going to be quick again on behalf of my Cabinet Secretary, Professor Margaret Kobia. I just also want to admit I was given something to say, because this was not my day, this was Lina Jebi's day. But because of my interest in KEPSA, because I have a lot of interest in KEPSA, I said, you know what? See, I can still come, Eva. So because when you come and you're from government, you must be given these yellow things. I will read them. And it is important that I read, because it still speaks for what we think as a ministry. So my colleague and senior in politics, Lina Jebi Kilimo, the chair of KEPSA, the first female chair, KEPSA. And I believe the reason why we now have a gender policy. Mocha. And all the board members of KEPSA who are here, and KEPSA members. I wish to take this opportunity to thank you all for taking part in this dialogue on women's economic empowerment in the changing world of work. Most specifically is to appreciate the valued partnership with the government of Kenya and the private sector in various development issues over the years. As this event draws to a close this evening, it is my considered view that our deliberations have been insightful and have contributed to the work we are undertaking as stakeholders to accelerate the economic empowerment of women. The launch of the gender mainstreaming policy by KEPSA is not just an event, but a process, because the best is yet to come, as the policy is embraced across the private sector and implemented to ensure the desired outcomes are achieved. This is especially due to the fact that in all the discussions that have taken place on the status of women, including the reports prepared that include the Beijing Plus 25, the Kenya Country Profile on Gender Equality and Empowerment of Women, among others, one of the main concerns is that as a country, we have made progress by putting in place robust gender laws and policies, but the challenge has been the pace of implementation and enforcement. Even in government, as has been noted in this meeting today, almost all ministries, departments, and agencies have gender mainstreaming and workplace GBV policies, yet there is no framework to establish how these instruments are being implemented. Moving forward, therefore, on our part, we shall undertake an assessment of the gender policies in the ministries, departments, and agencies to establish their implementation, since the government sets the pace so that KEPSA too can follow with the policy that you have launched today. We will do that in recognition of what KEPSA has done today. Secondly, as a ministry, we shall continue to partner with KEPSA on various gender-related work, including sharing of information and best practices, such as setting up gender-friendly facilities at the workplace, given that the private sector is ahead of government in this initiative. Thirdly, as you are aware, the government, through His Excellency the President, announced 12 concrete commitments for advancing gender equality and elimination of the gender-based violence by the year 2026. Key among these that require partnership with private sector is ratification. I'm responding to crew. Key among this is ratification of the ILO Convention 190 on ending gender-based violence in the world of work, research, and innovation on GBV for evidence-based policy and programming, as well as setting up a GBV Survivors Fund through a co-financing model. Crew, I can assure you, you know our president. He has not been awarded for nothing. We will make sure that we ratify that. As a ministry that is coordinating implementation of the commitments, it is our hope that the private sector can also consider making specific commitments within the generation equality framework and contribute to the transformative change envisioned by 2026. Private sector, if you add our voice as Kenya, we get more marks, we get more bonuses. I'm just saying. You know, society is government and private sector. So when we are doing things like this today, we will be speaking, and you know me, I quote a lot of these things, Eva, that's why I come for these things. I mean, in every next meeting, I will also be saying, also our private sector has a gender policy. It adds to the rating of Kenya, and we are very proud of it. Lastly, you'll agree with me that the side events held with the private sector and other partners have been very informative and successful despite the COVID situation. We must therefore purpose to carry forward the recommendations arising from these presentations and recommendations so that we can continuously evaluate ourselves. We also look forward to even more successful events through your partnership with government in CSW 67 next year. To also add that given that this is an election year, the private sector can purpose to support women vying for various elective positions so that you too can contribute towards our efforts of attaining gender parity in political offices. And I really want you to clap on that one. Wamama high. We are always told we are our own worst enemies. Why don't you prove them wrong? There are so many women vying for positions. It doesn't matter what political party. There are women who want to be governors, they want to be senators, they want to be MPs, they want to be MCAs. Honestly, the change is in parliament. Our gender policies, all our policies in government get stuck in Bunge. I don't know where your policy will get stuck. Whether it is in the board of directors, I don't know it will get stuck because it will have a problem. There will somewhere you're going to struggle. But where we struggle is parliament. That even policies that make sense for the empowerment of women, you find men can even walk out so that they don't discuss breastfeeding. It's too beneath them. So Wamama high. He for she high. Give us women, please, in political power. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you all once again for this engagement this evening and enjoy the rest of your evening. Asante sana.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Shebesh. We truly appreciate. Asante. Wow. She's talked about the principles from government and private sector. Mkona yenu saba. Sindio? So, clearly, thank you very much. That's a true commitment from government. We truly appreciate. And to close from the serikali side, before we have the private sector side closing. Naona wengine walikuwa wanasema bado hatujafungua na hatujafunga. Lakini kwa vile hataki kufunga wakati huu, tutapiga makofi mara 5. Na hiyo 5 ni kueleza serikali ya kuwa sisi kama wanabiashara ama wana Kenya tunashukuru kwa vile mnatusikiza, mnakubali tufanye kazi pamoja na pia kuwa nasi hadi wakati huu karibu saa 3 usiku Alhamisi ya leo, na kesho tunajua ni Ijumaa. Kazi za kila mtu ni nyingi sana, na kwa Kiingereza tunasema nini? We do not take it for granted. So because of that, tuko tayari, si ndio? Alafu baadaye nitamuita mkubwa wetu aliye hapa, atakuja kuwaeleza jinsi wanabiashara wanafunga usiku wa leo. Madam Kathy, tutakuita baadaye. Lakini twende, sawa? This is to government. Thank you very much. Please pass our appreciation to the CS. Honorable JB, we appreciate you. Honorable Kilimo, we appreciate you. Pass our salamu to everyone within the ministry, and of course to His Excellency, the President, and I know you'll get our words. So we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our director. Oh, bado mnataka kufunga? Tutafunga wakati wa mwisho. Miss Kathy, please greet her as she comes on stage, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is big. This is big. Can we appreciate each and everyone in this room? Honorable JB Kilimo and Honorable Rachel Shebesh, friends of KEPSA indeed, Mr. David Bagenda, Kenya Country Head, Mastercard Foundation, Dr. Charles Mwirigi, Chief Executive Officer, Women Enterprise Fund, Ms. Flora Mutai, my chair, Ms. Makabelo Mlamane, Ms. Wangeshi, Washira, distinguished guests. Now, this is where I say all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, we have successfully come to the end of our private sector gender mainstreaming policy launch. I can still remember with Eva sitting and interviewing Lucy. And she was knitting. And she said, "Can I show you what I'm knitting?" An interview. Can you imagine? And we were so taken in by what she was doing. We believed in her. And now we are here. So I would like, thank you, Lucy. I would like to thank our chief guest and all the speakers and all the panelists, as well as each and every one of you, for the engaging conversations that we have had, for the insights that we have gained, for the lessons that we have learned. Now it is for us to implement, each and every one of us in our spaces, because it starts with me. It starts, please say, it starts with me. It starts with me, yeah? Because together we can help transition this country into an economic powerhouse. We all agree that the achievement of Kenya's Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals require our collective efforts and will only be achieved when no one is left behind. See, you know what I'm saying? When no one is left behind. And we can continue to empower our women through enabling equal participation in existing markets, access to and control over productive resources, access to decent work, control over their time, their lives, their bodies, and increased voice, increased agency, and meaningful participation in economic decision making at all levels, from the households, from our daughters at home, to the boardrooms, to the international institutions. From our engagement today, it is clear that the national government, through the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs, private sector led by KEPSA, and development partners, are doing a lot to support this agenda. And there's concurrence on the need to continue championing gender mainstreaming. I acknowledge all the efforts and commend all the businesses. I salute our members who are in this room. You're here because you believe in this. And I know for some of you, your visas have already expired, but you're still here. So thank you for taking deliberate measures to include more women, to include more youth, to include people living with disabilities in your value chains. In a very special way, I would like to thank the MasterCard Foundation. Joyce, thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for their generous contributions to this cause. I want to thank Isuzu East Africa. I want to thank Dr. Manu Chandaria, who have all contributed to having this successful event. Some of the key messages, because you must take away something, some of the key messages that came out for me include that despite the COVID-19 pandemic, there are opportunities presented by the crisis, including the creation of solutions to local and global problems. Technology has emerged as a crucial enabler for business continuity during this period, and there's need to address challenges such as e-commerce, regulations, logistics, access to the internet, and devices for special interest groups, and those groups include our women. Exploring the new frontiers that women and youth can venture into and benefit from is key for all of us, because it makes business sense. The need to focus on supplier diversity, i.e. diversifying the products and services aimed at enhancing their participation in entrepreneurship, is critical. The need for capacity building for our women, for the youth, for PWDs, owned businesses, to ensure that they can effectively participate in the job market. We have to also rethink women's access to connectivity, women's access to the internet, especially those in the SMEs. How do we enhance digital accessibility and literacy among the women entrepreneurs? That is a question that I want to leave with each one of us today. The need to have deliberate efforts by the government, the private sector, and other stakeholders to promote gender mainstreaming across various value chains. And I always say, when I speak about women on boards, I always say the government is far ahead of us. We need to catch up. So please keep leading the way, and we will keep following. We need to promote women entrepreneurs through the closing of financial gaps, and I'm glad we are already starting that journey in terms of financing, in terms of skills of the future. Equal sharing of unpaid work, because it has predominantly been the women, right? So equal sharing of unpaid work among the men and the women towards sustainable economic development and a productive labor force. We need to promote women entry, re-entry, and advancement in the labor market. And we need to invest in care infrastructure services. We need to strengthen education, training, and skills. I got my second job 23 years to having my first baby. 23 days. I reported 23 days to having my first baby. 97. What more can we do now? What more can we do now? Way forward. KEPSA looks forward to an engendered private sector of all relevant stakeholders. That is our partners, private sector companies, our members, and government institutions to advance this agenda. We also look forward to creating a monitoring and evaluation mechanism to enable tracking and reporting gender-sensitive progress and implementation. What gets measured gets done. So let's hold ourselves accountable. Let's hold each other accountable. We need to extend the labor protection to domestic workers and other informal sectors. That domestic worker, if she's not comfortable, you too are not comfortable where you are. So give her her dignity, let her feel protected. She will help you to advance in your career. The development of other gender-friendly facilities at the workplace, very, very important. And so because I am the one standing between you and the renewal of your visas and dinner as well, with those very many remarks, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today and for lasting until this time. Thank you so much, and let us collaborate in making this a reality. Asanteni sana.
Wow. Thank you, Director Catherine. Let's continue clapping for her, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is how we close as the private sector. Are we happy? So thank you so much, Director. It is indeed 9 or 5 p.m. time to have our meal. And before we do that, we remember we've come to the end of the event, but we are told final is not the end of an event. It is just the beginning of a new event. Thank you to all of you, to everyone who organized this event, from the management, from our directors, from all the way from the chair, from the gender ministry. Thank you very much. The panelists, I know she has said thank you. All our sponsors, our partners, Serena Hotel. We truly appreciate the media for being present. Those who've been with us online, tunasema asante sana for today. And we also wish to say, Kawera asante. I'll be calling you in a few to pray for us. So let us clap for Kawera. She's truly led the process from our side. And because we want to clap in private sector style, but that private sector style is similar to the government style, because we are one, right? We are all Kenyans, ama nini? So we will do 5 claps, na wakati huu tutafunga na kufungua. Kwa vile tunafungua tukienda kukula, so msisahau kula tafadhali. And let us champion the 2 engines of growth. Gender equality is about men and women. When we drive the 2 engines for this country, we will be the history one day saying we were part and parcel of that history making in life, and our children will be proud of it. Tuko tayari sasa. We now fired up for lunch. It's lunch for others, right? Now, at least I know you're all here with us. So let us do it. Twende tuko tayari. And thank you for the ones who prepared the launch, asante sana. For the ones who did our live streaming, asante sana. The ones who are doing rapporteuring, huko nyuma tunashukuru, the ushers, everyone, online community, all of you. Tuendelee. If you don't do it, my friend, unajua tuko na vocha. Be careful. Aya, twende 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, funga, fungua, I've been your host, Martha Cheruto. God bless you. Asante.